Hey everybody, Jess here. I want to go over what I think are the 5 most important things to successfully self-publish your book. I'm going to start with the big one. What I think is the number one most important part of successfully self-publishing your book, and that is hiring an editor. It's good to have beta readers and get feedback. It's even better to have critique partners who can give you more detailed feedback on plot holes and characters and your writing and grammar and everything. But the most important thing you're going to do before you put your book into the world is hire an editor. How do you find an editor? Well, I can tell you how I found mine. I was reading a book. I really liked it, Boys of Brayshaw High, and I noticed inside that it said edited by Ellie McLove, my brother's editor. And so I looked this up and I found her to be super reasonable, and I've been working with her ever since. She edited Saving Grace, and she's also edited The Chapel. I will be sending her whatever I work on next. With that said, there are so many editors out there. I would recommend looking in the books that you read and like and feel are well edited, because that gives you a good bouncing off place. Ask other authors, especially if you're on Twitter. You can do a shout out to the writers community and ask them their opinions, and people will start recommending. And just do a Google search or a Facebook search. There are so many editors out there, but I would definitely have a conversation with someone before hiring them and make sure you're a good fit. Okay, now you have the book written and you have it edited. What's next? Formatting. I use Reedsy, Reedsy, reedsy.com. I will put a link down below. And I found this through NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. That's how I wrote my first book back in 2016. And it was through them that I discovered Reedsy. The cool thing about them is you could write your book within their system, and it's all online and it's free. I don't write my books in there, but I do put them in there after the editing process, and I just put one chapter in at a time. It sets up everything for you. It allows you to put in all of your cover information, all of your acknowledgments. You can put in other books that you have if you want them mentioned in the back. There are a lot of options, and then it's as simple as clicking the size you want it to be. So if you want it trade paperback or whatever it is you want, and then you can make it into a PDF, or you can make it into .mobi or .epub. So I have done all of that and used all of that, and it's very simple, and it looks great on your ebooks, and it looks great on your paperbacks. So you can follow the directions on how to format yourself, and that is perfectly fine, but the easy, simple, cheater way that I like to do it is through Reedsy. Number 3, you have to find a cover for your book or design one. This was one of the hardest parts for me initially. The first book, and I was with a publisher for my first 3 books, and I had to work with them as well as a cover designer, and I looked through lots of pre-made covers, but they could also make one in-house, and it was so overwhelming. I had so many ideas of what I thought the cover should be, but then I couldn't quite find that, and then I had to figure out what worked too for fitting a title and my name, and if I wanted a quote, a blurb, endorsement from another author, and all of these things. And there's a lot to think about, and colors and design. And I read on a Kindle Paperwhite, so it's only black and white, there's no color, and so you want to think about what it looks like on that. Or if you're looking on your phone and you're seeing teeny tiny little book covers, you want to think, does it pop from here, or do you really need to be looking at it this size? But also, does it look good in a paperback? There's so much to consider. I employed the help of several of my friends on the first few choices. I got really lucky, I think. On my second book, the image that I chose to use as the book cover came from Adobe stock photos. My publishers paid for the rights and made a cover out of it. The artist behind that contacted me. She was really excited that her image was being used as a book cover, and since then we've formed a working relationship. She has done the art. I've commissioned her for the art for Saving Grace in the Chapel, and now that I've re-released my first book, The Guilt of a Sparrow, she's done the art for that as well. And so I have one more that she's going to do, and then whatever books I do in the future, I'm hoping she's going to work with me on that as well. I think it's really important if you're writing a series to think of that up front. I didn't really know when I was releasing my first book or even my second book that I was going to end up having like 8 books in this series. So I hadn't planned out, matching or coordinating covers. But I think it's really important that if you're planning a series, even if it's loose in your brain and you're not sure you can do it, pretend you can do it and plan for that, and go ahead and have in your mind that you want these to coordinate and kind of tie in together. And that really makes it look really good once the series starts to develop and the books come along. The fourth thing to consider after you've, written your book and you have it edited and formatted and you have a cover design, now you need to think about how you want to put your book out in the world. So I think a lot of people these days, especially self-publishing, are going the Kindle route through Amazon. KDP is how you do that, and they can do the Kindle book as well as the paperback, and then everything is print on demand through them for the paperbacks, and then you can choose to have your books in Kindle Unlimited. And then for that, you get paid for pages read, which is pretty cool, actually. But you really need to make a decision on whether you want your book to be exclusively available through Kindle or not. So my first 3 books through my publisher were exclusive through Amazon and the Kindle. And then now that I'm self-publishing, I've opted not to do that. So I've used Ingram Spark for my paperbacks. The reason I did that was because I wanted them to be available in, if people want to go online and they want to shop on IndieBound, or if they want to go to Barnes & Noble, they want to go to Powell's, whatever it is, I wanted them to be able to hop on some websites for indie bookstores and to be able to order my paperback through them. I did still choose to do KDP for my ebooks. At least initially, right now for the first few months, I'm having them on Kindle Unlimited. At some point, I will probably decide to take them off of that, still have them available as a Kindle book, but not exclusively. That way I can add it to Nook and Kobo and Apple iBooks and all of that, and have more options out there. But that's really something that you're going to have to think about and decide whether you want to be exclusive through Amazon or whether or not you want to open it up to broader channels. And there are a lot of pros and cons to both. And I think it comes down to your, personal values. I don't know how to say that, but what you want to get out of it and whether or not you feel comfortable being exclusive with one place versus many places. Number 5 is all about being online, having a presence online. This starts with social media. Make sure you're on at least 2, if not 3 or more. I stay very active, posting daily on Facebook. I have my personal profile, but I don't use that for my my books. I have an author page that I use for my books and to have likes versus friendships, and I can explain that further if anyone has any questions. But I also have a group that is linked through my page, and so the group is where we do a lot of conversations and fun games, and I give away prizes and stuff like that. I also have Instagram. I love Instagram. It's all, photographs. You're not just seeing words and opinions and whatever. I mean, not that there aren't opinions, but it's all photographs. And so I love doing that. I take pictures of books. I take pictures of my cats. I post pictures of me and coffee and whatever, I feel like it, but it's really fun. And so I found that's really useful. I am on Twitter, but I barely use it because I just don't really prefer it, but that's up to you. I have a website, and that's going to be something that you want to do. There are so many free ways to do that, whether it's through Wix or Squarespace or WordPress, which is what I use. Mine is not free, but there are free options. And, to be taken seriously as an author and for people to find you online, you need to have an online presence. So if people look up Just Be More, that's going to direct them to my website. I'm sure also will pop up my Facebook and other things like that. But on my website, I have all of my books. I have links to my social media. I've tried having a blog off and on. I don't really keep up with it, but it just has more about me and where you can find my things and what I'm all about and what my books are all about. And I think that that's really important. And if you want to be discoverable, you have to really put yourself out there. And so that's one reason I'm doing the YouTube videos now too, is it's one more way that people can find me and get to know me and get to know my books and, you know, put myself out in the world and in front of readers. Bonus is I'm going to tell you my secret for making great posts online and making my website beautiful, and that is Canva, canva.com, canva.com. I will put a link down below. That is my secret weapon. You can pick a template to do an Instagram post, a Facebook post, a story for either one, a YouTube thumbnail, a presentation, a bookmark, a business card, whatever it is, there's a template for it. And if there's not, then you can put in your own custom dimensions and go from there. But I find it super, super handy. I can throw on pictures of my book covers, or I can type in quotes. I can change the fonts and the colors and make it pretty, and it's just super easy to use. They have lots and lots of stock photos and images that you can use. So, you know, let's say you want a background of a couple and they're sort of tumbling on a bed and you can see their feet, and then you're putting a quote and then you're saying something about your book title and your name. And it's really easy. It only takes a few minutes to pop things together. I use that for pretty much all of my design work, and I've just gotten my husband into it too because he makes a lot of YouTube videos, and he's been using Canva now to make his thumbnail images. So it's super easy and really great. And so that's throw in their bonus to be as successful, at least at having an online presence, I think, is having really great stuff to post. If you're posting every day, you're going to run out of ideas, or at least I do. And it really helps if I can hop on there and I can throw up a quote, I can throw, you know, together a collage or an image. I can just put up, you know, hello February, but I've made it. You know, it's not something I'm taking from somewhere else, because you have to be really careful if you're taking images, especially off of Pinterest, because, you know, you really need to follow back to the rights of who made that artist and give them credit. So I found it's easier to just make my own things, and then they can follow my brand. They can be in my colors and my fonts, and you know, I have creative control over them. So that's it. That is the 5 most important things to be successful at self-publishing your book, plus a bonus. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. Feel free to have comments and ask questions. I'm happy to answer. Like and subscribe. And you can find me online at jessbmore.com or on Facebook and Instagram at author Jess B. Thanks. Bye.